Okay, now let's see if it's on now. Just want to confirm with the folks I suspect are watching. So I guess it is possible for folks in here to have the stream open too. I don't know, has anyone here tested? Okay, I'll just wait one moment longer. Okay. All right. So this is just a brief update on the Great Repository migration. We can make this a little interactive and have some audience participation. Developers can use the top command. Non-developers can also follow along. They can't push, but they can follow along with the bottom ones. And also. Can even follow along with CVS if you really want, which may be convenient if you have any sort of automation that already uses CVS, and you won't have to update it this way. So test source here is just a little repository that's small. You can clone it in a reasonable time while listening to me blather. This URL right now, repo server 3.test, is just a temporary thing just for testing right now. I have a few different instances of the infrastructure running at the moment. Repo server 3 is wired up to all of the anonymous access as well as the developer access. If you want to look at the code that is going into the new infrastructure. The TNF repo part, anyone can look at. The other two, TNF package and TNF image, those are private to developers for the moment. But if you're curious to see what's going into all of the time it's taking to migrate, there's a few parts to this. One is TNF repo is a collection. Collection of repository configuration and hooks and a lot of automatic tests for workflow to make sure that when developers start trying to commit to stuff in the new world order, it won't just fall to pieces immediately. We have some TNF-specific package source packages here. There's some code that is just the code quality is not that great. We don't really want to publish it just yet, but that's the only reason why it's not published. And this is where we have some patches to. Oh, hold on, I didn't actually push to that. Just a moment. TNF package. All right. And there we go. Yeah, this is really slow because I have my SSH go through Tor by default. This way, I'm always seeing how the experience will be for people on crappy networks rather than doing all my testing on a 10 gig link right next to TNF. Yeah, it's a little bit slow, but I gotta tell it I want to make a new branch. That's fine. Okay, so anyway, there's some packages in here. I have local patches to Mercurial, very small local packages just to deal with like one performance issue with very large repositories, and to add support to HG Web for displaying draft topics. And then yeah, and if you can see the tiny text down here, we have some output that is not usually shown in Mercurial for a collection of tests that we apply to the any changes that are going in to make sure they're not going to cause trouble with like encoding, normalization of UTF-8 path names, case distinctions, so that you can continue to check out the NetBSD source tree on macOS. We have had some issues in the past with the board repository, where someone committed a file in a name that was normalized one way because macOS preferred it that way, but everyone else prefers the other way, and it ended up being difficult to check out the thing check out that revision of the repository. So we've got a bunch of consistency checks here to make sure that there's no collisions among that sort of thing. And then the TNF image repository has all of our the mechanism for building new server images for the repository server itself. This is, if you're familiar with the modern DevOps style of doing things, this is a sort of a container mechanism, except it's not with containers, it's just make files, not Docker files, just make files, and NetBSD's make image script. But so if you want to check these out, this is where all the work has been happening. There are two different repository servers. There's the public repository server. This corresponds to cvs.netbsd.org, and it is very locked down. Only developers have access to it, and, well, developers and admins, and for read-only purposes, internal infrastructure is allowed to read from it. And we have a bunch of privilege separation in here and separate routes to make sure that even if we screw up configuration of one thing, we screw up configuration of Mercurial, then unauthorized internal infrastructure can't write to the repository inadvertently. The data flow is a bidirectional between Mercurial and Git. So internally it works with a Mercurial as the primary and Git as a write-through cache. But from a developer's perspective, you don't really notice that. You can just push or pull either Mercurial or Git, whichever way you want. There's just a few things that are Mercurial only, like handling vendor branches. And that's only temporarily. At some point, we should be able to do that through Git as well. And then there's also a path that applies any changes in Git onto a non-CVS. And that's so that any internal infrastructure we have that relies on CVS for periodically checking out the website or something, that can continue to work and doesn't need doesn't need to be updated immediately. Obviously, we want to update it eventually and get rid of this side of things, but this way we don't have to do it immediately. And then there's an anonymous server, which anyone can use. We have, again, we have some privilege separation going on here. We've got access by admins, separated from access by the main repository server, which pushes all new changes to the anonymous one. And that in turn is separated from the public anonymous access. So you'll be able to, you can use either SSH or HTTPS to, or HTTP if you really want, to get at the repositories anonymously. And that's currently running behind NGINX and Anubis in order to mitigate the LLM scrapers. It makes a huge difference. I know every now and then I hear that Anubis isn't effective anymore, but no, you look at the load on the server. It's flip on Anubis and load goes. It's, so like I mentioned, there's a bunch of privilege separation going on in here in order as a sort of stopgap in case we screw up any access control configuration. This took a while to make sure we got this right. This is similar to what we were already doing with CVS and non-CVS, but slightly improved. Had to do a little hack around to make SSHD allow passwordless login passwordless anonymous login when run unprivileged. Turns out that the when you add a user with like user add or do anything, run the password command to change a password. There's two files it edits. One is etc master.password and one is etc password. And also a lookup database, constant database versions of these files for faster lookups. And only privileged processes can read master.password because that contains the hashed passwords, and you don't want to expose those. Expose users' passwords to brute force attacks. But the password file also has a field for passwords, and if you run sshd unprivileged, it can't read the master.password file, and so it instead gets the password files, which doesn't have passwords and doesn't even tell you whether a user is passwordless or not. So we have a little hack to tweak the etc password file and the database derived from it so that it reports to an unprivileged SSHD that yes, the anon-CVS, anon-HG, anon-get user is actually passwordless. Let anyone log in even if they don't have a password. Some of the maintenance that is involved in this is we need to periodically generate bundles for both Git and Mercurial. If you don't do this, then it takes like hours to clone the repository. That's for Git and Mercurial as well, for both of them. Initially, when I set this up, when I shared this among the developer community, I got some feedback saying, "Wow, why is Git cloning so slowly? You hate Git?" And well, maybe, but it's because I hadn't set up the periodic maintenance to run Git GC or Git maintenance, and need to set that up. I separated out we've long run the CVS server itself in a chroot. But I've separated out into separate file system images, built separately so that we can easily, if we want, just update the server installation separately from the the software that's serving the web server and SSH and stuff, the repository itself. So we can just build a new image, plop it in with DD or something, and reboot the machine, if we need to do OS updates, we don't have to run through a sysinst process to manually type in and stuff. And this is nothing, no groundbreaking technological innovation here. This is just there's this whole idea of treating servers either as pets or as cattle. And the modern approach is to treat servers as cattle and treat them as livestock so that you can just swap them out and replace them as need be. Most of TNS infrastructure right now is treated more as pets, manually maintained, manually installed and updated and stuff. And so all of the configuration is now under revision control in one of those repositories I showed earlier. And we have automatic tests for a lot of it. So we can very easily spin up and deploy a new instance for on a test network. For anything new we need to do in the repositories. So the reason this has taken a while is just we needed to engineer this robustly, make sure that everyone is confident in the security of the new setup. What I presented back at BSDCan at the end of last year had none of the server deployment infrastructure, none of the careful privilege separation, none of that. It just had the repository data itself. I needed to test actual workflows, developer workflows. We've had a Mercurial repository available on the side for a while, but we weren't doing anything like vendor branches, vendor imports. So when we have a new version of tmux, we want to import, and we have local changes we need to merge. There's a whole workflow for dealing with that, and we've only been doing that in CVS for a long time. And vendor branches in particular turn out to be troublesome, and I'm still working on getting that process right. But There's some new, relatively recent developer-facing documentation for all of this access here at, well, anyway, it's a developer, NetBSD.org/developers/mercurial, and then there's also some documentation on how to deal with the vendor branches. Still working on that. Was working on it this morning. It's yeah, CVS is troublesome, and it would be very nice to be rid of it. So, if anyone has cloned any of the repositories, has anyone actually done that, or are you all just here to listen? All right, this is going to be a less interactive one than the BSDCan talk. But what was that?
I pushed a change.
Oh, great. So you all right? So let's. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to turn off the Tor proxy here for a moment, just so I don't have to sit waiting for a while. Okay. All right, so whoops. So let's find out what Stephen pushed. And there's a change. Copy and paste that. And what did he do? Live from Ottawa. Great. And now this was a public commit. So this was oh, there we go. Yeah. Made this screen a little too large. So this is just like committing to CVS commit. The nice thing that we have now is, oh, and by the way, I can also probably look at this on the, yeah, here we go. Here's the commit that he just pushed. Okay, so one thing we can do now with Mercurial that we couldn't do with CVS. Well, we could do something with CVS. When you draft a change, you don't want to commit it yet. You can, do CVS diff and then write it to a file and upload it to www.netbsd.org and post a link to it in IRC or send an email copy of the draft around. But we can also, with Mercurial now, can make draft changes. Come on. Oops, update. There we go. Live from Ottawa. So let's see. So I'm going to put this on a topic. I'm just going to name the, just name BSDCan. Just a name for the drafts I'm about to share. Just like I might use like a PR number to group them together. So let's see what change I'm about to commit. So let's go commit that. Oops. No, I need to set my username. So in order to properly attribute who committed which changes, you need to set your username for for authorship to be your NetBSD user ID, and this will be checked on the server side. So let's try that. Actually, I'm going to rename this. So here's the commit that I make this a little smaller. Is this still legible? There we go. Yeah, so I'm going to rename this just to put a little tag in here. If I put the little tag in here, then with the WIP tag, you see just the letters WIP. Then when I try to push this to the main repository, it will notice those letters and tell me, no, I can't accidentally push work in progress to the main repository. Gosh, this is slower than I was expecting. I thought I turned off the Tor proxy bit, but maybe I didn't. Oh no, I know I didn't. Yeah, yeah. So here we go. The description matches a forbidden pattern. So this is just telling me I've configured the server. This is not part of Mercurial. This is part of our installation. This way, you can this alerts you that you've accidentally pushed a draft that is not ready to be published yet. And hold on just a moment. Okay, this will be a little faster now. Actually, turn off the Tor part. So what I can do, though, is push it to the draft repository. Oh, no, this is still going through because I have it. Okay. And so the draft repository stores work in progress topics, as they're called in Mercurial, and they're sort of like branches, but once you merge them to the main development, they sort of evaporate. They're no longer displayed. I'm going to switch to Ansi. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so when I run HD topics, it'll show me the list of topics that are currently active. And if you pull from the main repository, it's annoying, then you won't get this. But you can pull from the draft repository, and you will get it. So if you want to try pulling from the draft repository, you just have to just say, you can give it a topic name if you want. Oops. Or you can pull everything from the draft repository. So just have to put @draft at the end of the URL, and there we go. And so if you can also make your own commit and push it on top of this. And then the exciting thing comes after that, though. The exciting thing so if you push something on top, yeah. Well, I guess you've already seen this demonstration back at your BSDCan, haven't you?
Yeah, I probably glazed over.
Okay.
I think what happened is I messed things up, and I had to come to you afterwards to have it fixed.
Did you mess something up? I remember there was some interaction there, but I don't remember anything getting messed up properly. But
yeah, I blindly just typed stuff in that I didn't understand. You asked me what order I did it because it didn't make sense, and I couldn't really.
All right. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah. So if you want to commit something on top of this, you'll have to HD update to the topic. So yeah. And then you can commit something on top. All right, so you push something?
I've failed to successfully switch to the draft thing. I think.
All right, let me take a quick look at what's going on here. So we've got okay. So you're currently on the on the draft topic, and you've got something on top. And so, what did you try pushing?
Yeah, I tried pushing and it didn't like it.
Okay. Now, oh yes. Well, so you're pushing currently to the main one.
Yes.
Yep. And that's going to tell you, nope, there's some work in progress stuff here that you're not allowed to push, or actually that it creates a new head. That's I don't know why there's multiple heads here, but I'll look at that in a moment. So let's try pushing to the draft one. I don't know how to use your keyboard. It's all British.
So I'll just put out draft at the end of that. Right?
Yeah, just put that draft at the end of it. Yep.
So I thought that I would have switched into that with my previous.
Right. So when you pull from a URL, URL doesn't get recorded, but you can record it by just adding a nickname to it or setting it as a default in your HGRC. Okay. So all pushed.
Yep.
Great. Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to do something that in the Git world is extremely uncouth, and I'm going to amend the commit that I already shared and that Stephen just did some work on top of. And push it myself. Well, what I'm doing is doing a git commit -- amend and git push -- forced update.
So is this a what not to do?
Nope. This is actually it's not a big deal in Mercurial. So I'll just take a moment to fetch.
To answer your question, in Git, it's common practice to be working on a branch, collaborating, and you're editing other people's changes.
Yeah.
And that's how you modify someone else's commit. And once it's gone into mainline, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But during development process, like
Back and forth.
Well, so the thing is,
changing it, so you get a good consistent set of commits, and you don't get this, one line.
Oh.
50% column.
we have some additional additional work from.
Hey?
I'll just be cheeky.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so where did here we go? Correct geolocation. So this history has gotten a little complicated, but let me just look at the one.
It's really that you can do this now. You can't do it with CVS. That makes sense. CVS, it's,
Yeah, it's a different animal.
yeah. So it's like you
Oops.
have history now. You want to edit the history and make yourself look good. Hide the errors from that.
Okay, show this. Okay, so down here we have in revision 31 is the original change that I made to correct something that Stephen committed earlier. And this is marked X because as an orphan, as superseded rather, because I amended it to be change 32. In the meantime, Stephen committed something else on top of my original change, which was to do something else. But I have now amended something that he did some work on top of already. Now, it is common practice in the Git world to do rebases and amends and history editing and whatever. But doing that on top, doing that to changes that someone else has already started to commit other work on top of is very troublesome because then they have to deal with, they're going to either get a bunch of merge conflicts, or they're going to have to, they're going to have to deal with this in it's difficult to find how to replay their work on top. Whereas in Mercurial, all you have to do is run hgevolve, and that will go and replay Stephen's change on top of the one I just made, so that now there's just two changes on the topic, and this lower one is the one that I made earlier, which is the amended one I made earlier, has now had a newer version of Stephen's change just replayed on top of it. And Mercurial keeps track of all of these so that it knows, oh, well, the earlier revision of number 32 was superseded by 32, so and that's what Stephen's change was based on top of. So in order to update Stephen's change for all the amendments that happened in the meantime, just need to replay it on top of change set 32. Now, you can also look at the history of revisions to the revision itself. So originally, what Stephen committed was this revision number 40, which normally HG won't even display, because it's now hidden, but you can explicitly ask it to be displayed. So this is, oops. I'll just make it a little more verbose. And so this is the change that that he originally made, and it's almost identical to the change number 42, which is the one I just produced by hgevolve. It's got the same content. It's just based on a new parent instead, my amended earlier revision. So what this all means is that I can make some changes in one part of the tree, and Stephen can work on another part of the tree on top of my changes, and then I can amend my changes and keep on, say, oh, I made a typo in that original commit, clean up the history a little bit, and that doesn't affect Stephen's other changes on top of it. And then once this is all once this is all ready, we can go and edit the history. Oh, hold on, let me. Oops. I'm running Emacs inside Emacs here. Oh dear. There we go. Let me update to the tip of this now. Run hgHistEdit, and I can reword this. No, sorry, it's not reword, it's mess. Make a mess of it. Huh? Yeah. Well, most of the time when I'm doing this kind of operation, it is in Git with git rebase -- auto squash -- interactive. hgHistEdit I don't use as often because it's not as necessary as often. So now I can edit the commit message, remove the whip tag. This Emacs inside Emacs is a little bit difficult. And then just going to stack is just the current topic that I'm working on. Should be able to push this unless somebody else is push something else instead. So I'm just going to see. 29 is the parent of the topic. Let's see if there's. Yeah, 29 is the head of the tree right now, so should be able to just hg push and -r dot. This says push the current change set. Don't push anything else. If I had other changes I was working on, then it might push a bunch of other stuff. But just try pushing this one thing, and. Oh, golly, huh? Right. Yeah. So there's also a bit in here where this might cause a little bit of trouble later on. Yeah. So I can't add a new change set that has Stephen's name on it. So yeah, this will pose some trouble if I try to merge all this. But I can do this in two stages. I can just push the parent, which only has my name on it, and then Stephen can publish the updated one with his name on it. Except I guess I'll probably, yeah, I might have to push the draft as well.
When you're pushing to the topic of your main line.
Right now, I'm pushing to the main repository, and so that when I'm taking a change set that is currently in draft phase, and by pushing it to the main repository, that publishes it, turns it into public phase, can't be amended anymore after that, can't be, no history editing after that, and it becomes available to anyone who is pulls from the main repository. Now, I can push the draft one, I think. So .caret is the parent commit. That's the one that has my name on it, and then dot is the one that Stephen made on top of it that has his name on it. And I think if I'm just obsoleting it, as long as there's an audit trail back to one that he made, this should be accepted. But oops. Yeah, sorry for the somewhat disjointed demonstration here. I wasn't planning on doing an interactive thing today. Hadn't. Okay. All right. So I guess I'm not able to evolve my own change sets, but Stephen could pull and then evolve his own change set and push that back on top. This thing about rejecting the authorship if it doesn't match is our installation for our audit trail purposes. At some point, we'll replace it by another mechanism. Because with Git, you can have separate author and committer. Mercurial doesn't have that. But we'll have a separate mechanism for recording who pushed a change versus who is the author on the change. But it's not ready yet. So, all right. Anyway, if anyone has any questions, either about using Mercurial, using Git, using the new infrastructure, happy to hang around and answer them.
I have kind of a high-level question, and I don't know how things are done now.
Hmm?
It's how do you handle embargo changes?
Yeah, so
Have to sit somewhere.
yeah, so for embargoed changes, we'll probably have just use a separate a draft topic in a separate repository, not on the main repository server. That is available to the security team, but not to everyone else.
And that becomes feasible because now you have Mercurial again.
Yeah, sure. Yep. So Mercurial also has a notion of, so in Mercurial, any change set is in one of three phases. Public, which is what you usually exchange with other people. Draft, which is something either you haven't pushed anywhere else yet, or you have pushed but only to a non-publishing repository like the draft one. And there's also secret changes, which Mercurial will refuse to push at all. One possibility is, we could try to arrange something where maybe you can push a secret change just to the security team repository or something, but it might require patching Mercurial or something like that. I don't know. In any case, I think most likely we'll just use a separate repository for embargo changes.
Yeah, that's simple.
Yeah. Yep. So, Stephen, you want to try pulling and evolving? Not to put you on the spot here.
Draft one. Or,
Yeah, you pull the draft. Yep.
yeah. So yes, I've done that. Yeah.
And you run HG evolve.
Not yet.
You might not have to because there already is a successor that is just fine. It just has your name on it, so I am not allowed to push it myself.
Yeah. So the output of HG -G is altered now from.
Yep. So let's.
So
So you can.
yeah. So that was a change against yours off 39, and now it's moved to be the tip.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
think that's-
And so you can, if you want to review how that changed, you can run HG obslog 41. And that will show you the history of revisions of that change set. And you can even run HG diff -- from whatever the old number is. I can't see that color.
No, I
-- to.
It's
Yeah, so you can run HG diff hidden -- from the old number -- to the new number.
So where I'm putting dashes now?
Space,
Okay.
just another -- argument -- to,
Okay.
and the new number. Yep. And that shows what the difference is, which is because I rebased it on top of a different change, and that's the other change. You can also run I think you can run HG obslog.
Of course, that's not my change.
That's not your change. That's the difference between those two trees.
Yeah.
When I took your old change and rebased it on my modified change, that is what the difference between the two snapshots is. Yeah. And you can also, if I recall correctly, I was just talking with the Mercurial developers about these the other day. I think you can run HG obslog -- diff. With apologies to the stream audience, I haven't got Stephen's screen here. Dash P, sorry. Or -- patch, not diff. And that shows that there is no substantive difference between those. If you had made some difference, like you could run HD, make another change and use HD amend to make a new revision of that change set. Like it,
I could. I'm probably starting to get out of my depth now.
All right. Okay, so anyway, so the thing with HG obslog is that it will show you the relevant differences, not the irrelevant ones, sort of. Whereas HG diff just showed the irrelevant change that just because I rebased it. Whereas if I had also modified your commit in a way that changed the content you added or removed, then obslog -- pack would show that. All right, so I've run out of things to blather about now. So if anyone has any other questions, happy to talk. But I think that's it for now. And I'm hoping to get this deployed, real soon now. Just sorting out some issues with doing the actual final migration, actual final conversion to get the, make sure all the branches are correctly represented, make sure to go through a bunch of QA criteria for making sure the, commit message encodings are correct, deal with make sure there's a list of QA criteria that we have to run through.
Another question.
Yes.
Has anyone figured out the policy for how to cite these commits?
How to sign?
Cite, quote.
Oh, how to cite? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So.
Things not to do.
Oh well, this doesn't have any tags, so it doesn't help. So. Yeah, if you where is this? Okay. So, the traditional thing with Git Mercurial and whatever is to just refer to commits by these horrible hashes. At some point, we're going to migrate from using SHA-1 to SHA-256 because SHA-1 is terrible, should never have been used. When we do that, all the hashes will change. So if you want to cite a particular revision of a file or a particular change in the history, the hashes are not good for doing that. Now, in NetBSD in the past, we've been able to, we can refer to files by CVS revision numbers, sys/current/subr whatever.c revision 1.2. And for changes, we also have the mail index URLs for the source changes messages, which is not great, but it sort of works for referring to collections of changes to multiple files. With Mercurial and Git, we would really like to avoid putting these hashes in commit messages, in mail archives, in web pages, whatever, because they're gonna change at some point with the SHA-2 migration or whatever. We're just not holding up the repo migration on waiting for Git and Mercurial to fully support SHA-2 or SHA-3 or whatever they're doing. So what we can do instead is with Mercurial, you can use a template for the hdidentify command that gives the latest tag, some base point, and then because we enforce a linear sequential history, you can say, well, there are 2,000 changes, 2,924 changes from 10.99.10 to the commit that we want to refer to right now. And can go back. So yeah, if I look at the mail index change, then this will turn up a commit from Tutsui-san that refers to CVS revision numbers. At the time I wrote this document, it had the hash 34849 whatever. I think we've probably had a forced update since then, so it changed the hashes. And we can go back and recover this change set from it. This isn't going to be fast until I convince Mercurial to index these things. I think I would like to implement an index for that because it's not actually that difficult. It just takes a little bit of engineering to do it. So we can go back and use this. Oops. Let's see if. I don't have we don't have the tags, but shoot. Yeah, the current conversion doesn't have the tags in it for all the branch base points. If we did have the tag, well, let's see. Oh wait, this isn't going to work. Okay, just one. Okay, 10.99.10. Here we go. Okay, so this is the base point. Okay. Base point. Okay, now let's see if this is going to work. What the hell did I just do? Oh, have tabs in here. Shell didn't like those. Okay, so now this will take a moment to compute because it's, like I said, it's not indexed right now, but in principle, it's not hard to index. And am I off by one? This has got to be an off by one. Friday made, yeah, okay, so let's, Aha, here we go. Pull shareable source user spin install boot cd9660. So I got the same commit with this little hack. And yeah, as you saw, this long pause is kind of slow. This is also a little bit slow because I'm running NetBSD 9 right now, and there's a stupid interaction between Python, Arano, and libc and NetBSD 9 that makes Mercurial a lot slower than it needs to be. At some point, I'll update to 10 or 11 on my laptop, but it hasn't happened yet. This issue is fixed in 10, where the Arano strings are cached in libc to make things a lot faster. So yeah, this is commit references can look something like this, and even if the hash changes, the numbers, the offsets will not change because the history is linear and not rewritten. So as long as we keep a discipline around tagging the branch points. And that's actually why the off by one happened here, I'm realizing now, because of the way Mercurial tags work. But as long as you keep some discipline around that, then we'll be able to have long-term revision numbers relative to the central NetBSD server as a naming authority that will not change whenever we switch to SHA-2 and later on. Yeah. In Git, you can use git describe somewhere down here. Yeah. So git describe will have a similar output, and you can get the you'll get, because the history is isomorphic. You'll get the same revision numbers whether you use Mercurial or Git to produce a thing like this. Yeah. Yep. So, any other questions?
So I did a push, and I had that same error about push great Stevie Miller head.
Okay, so what do you?
So I then went through and did push minus r dot, which looks like it's just closed the topic and pushed it to.
Okay, great. Yeah. So all that happened when you did push -r dot was to publish that change, transition that change set from draft to public.
Yeah.
Didn't actually add new data because the repository already had it. And now the topic has evaporated. You can look at it again if you say ht topics -- hidden, but you don't need to think about it anymore. It's already, it's merged to trunk. It's all done. It sounds like you probably have other change sets in there. If you run hg heads or hg log -big G, you'll probably see the other heads that you have in your tree, and you can either get rid of those if you want, or so.
Well, I got the impression we're all square now.
Oh, was it not complaining about? Okay, yeah, I don't see any other heads here. Not from a long time. Okay, all right, yeah. So maybe it's all set then. I don't know why you got that particular complaint, but yeah. All right.
I have more policy questions.
Yes, go for it.
One dogma I had drilled into me is in your mainline repo, once something is merged, the branch is merged, you get rid of the tag.
You mean you get rid of the git ref?
Yeah, whatever it is, the name that was keeping track of the branch.
Yes.
That gets blown out of the repo.
Yes.
To stop it being filled up because
Yes.
suddenly, well, not filled up, you're suddenly doing a lot more merges than you might with
Yep.
CDX.
Yeah.
Thoughts about that?
Yeah. So with Mercurial topics, with git refs, the ref is the name that you use for a git branch name is just sort of a pointer to a commit. The commit doesn't know anything about that name. When you delete the ref, the name goes away. When you go spelunking through history later on, you say, what the heck was this, what branch was this done on? That information is lost in Git. You got to guess from the graph structure how it worked out, where it came from.
Get K in the hash.
I mean, yeah, but you got to look at the graph structure of the commit history. With Mercurial, the topic name is part of the commit's identity, and it's just hidden by the UI once you actually once you merge it to the main. Once you publish the commit. Since it's hidden, it doesn't really matter, with namespace collisions, but you also don't just lose the information of what topic it came from. And I've often gone through the history to find why did this change happen on this, here, run through CVS annotate or git blame and go chasing for a while, and it turns out it happened on a CVS branch, and I was able to recover what CVS branch it happened on by chasing the history far enough, but the information coming from Git was somewhat lacking in that department for historical research. Now,
Does that mean Mercurial has a forward and a backward link?
well, it's not so much that there's a forward and backward link as it's the commit has the name of the topic as part of the commit's identity. It's just like a commit has an author and a commit message. It's also got a topic, which Git doesn't do. The topic namespace is per branch, so you can also have you can say so. The workflow that I've been using for a while is to name the stuff that I'm working on. I call it Reestra, PR12345, and then a brief blurb of what the fix is, what the change is, and you can also use the same topic name for different commits on a branch, so that you can say fix PR12345 on trunk, and then work on the pull-ups in the same topic of the same name on the NetBSD 11 branch. You just name it with NetBSD 11 // and then the topic name. There's some notes on about how to do this on the in the developer documentation here. Oops, this is, well, maybe. Nope. Okay. Here we go. So yeah, you can. There's a worked example of how to do this in the developer documentation, and some notes on how to do a pull-up somewhere. Here we go. Yep. So yeah. Now you mentioned forward and backward links. Notice one of the steps is HG graphed. This takes a change set on, say, trunk, and then grafts it on, makes a copy of it, and grafts it onto a NetBSD 11 release branch or something. This actually, this produces two different change sets. One with its identity and the trunk history on the trunk branch and so on, and the other one on the NetBSD 11 branch. And they're two different copies of the same change essentially. And if you do git cherry pick, you'll get the same thing. But in Mercurial, there's a back reference. So you can ask, what commit did this come from? It's not just freeform text in the commit message, but it's formally referencing the commit identity inside. And you can say, okay, this change on trunk, has it ever been pulled up? And Mercurial will go. You can go and search through the back references to find it. Again, right now it's a little bit slow. You need to do the query carefully to make it not traverse the entire repository history to find back references. But in principle, it could be cached, and it really should be. And then it would be very quick to answer the question: has this change been pulled up? And if so, to what branches and stuff.
Yeah, that's useful.
Yes. So yeah, this will substantially reduce the burden of relang pull-ups processing, because we can just draft a change on the release branch and say, okay, please try this draft topic on the release branch, and auto build it, with CI, whatever. Which, something we should have been able to do a long time ago, but we've been on CVS this whole time, so.
I guess the other one on branches is, are they going to be encouraged at some point?
Yeah, well, so topics, yes, absolutely. Branches for long-term things,
Yeah, topics probably a better description. Okay.
Right. So Mercurial has two separate mechanisms, topics and branches. They're not the same mechanism. In both cases, it's part of the commit's identity, and it's functionally, operationally, it's just a label that is stored in the header of the commit. But branches are sort of meant for longer term things, which in our case I expect we'll use primarily for vendor branches for maintaining upstream code. So we have OpenSSL, we have tmux, we have less, whatever, and we'll maintain a vendor branch which contains verbatim the upstream releases, and occasionally add a new one and merge it into trunk to preserve our local changes. But then we can still see. The branch stays around, so we can see how the branch progressed. We can diff from the vendor branch to a trunk, and so on. It's possible that we will have other long-term branches. We'll also have release branches like NetBSD 11, NetBSD 12, whatever, and we'll occasionally cherry pick or graft changes from trunk into the release branches. It's possible that we may have long-term development branches that are not one of those two types, like we used to use CDS branches for, and like you can use topics for. The reason that we want to do that is if you have like a long-term project that isn't just like feature development on NetBSD that you're just going to rebase on trunk at some point anyway, but let's say, just throw a hypothetical idea out there, like a capability-based NetBSD similar to Cherry BSD. It's not something that you're just going to merge into the mainline NetBSD development at some point. It might be a long-term thing where you might have a Cherry NetBSD 11, Cherry NetBSD 12, Cherry whatever. So you might have a separate trunk that you occasionally merge the main trunk into the Cherry branch. We might do that. I don't know. That's another thing that we might use Mercurial branches for rather than topics, but I'm not sure. We'll see how it if it comes up like that. You can also just use topics for it, it's, for that kind of thing. So. The main thing that we're trying to replace right now is just emailing around to diff and posting it on the NetBSD.org website as our review mechanism, which it works, but it's not great, and it doesn't facilitate automatic testing of work in progress. Any other questions? All right.
You said you had the thing where you created images.
Yes.
How you? Those are single files and a whole file system, is it? Like so.
Yeah.
Do you go by BSD or?
Yeah. This is just the same procedure we use to produce our NetBSD live images for ARM boards. Just kind of simple-minded make image script that produces a raw disk image. Yeah, you can mount it with a VND. You could load it into a QEMU QCOW thing with QEMU image convert or something. This is so.
In production, how do you glue that into the trunk?
This one is the one I just pulled open, reposerver.conf. This one is the boot image, so you just DD it onto the boot partition. There's a separate. So the way that it works in practice right now is the host machine is running Xen. and it has LVM to manage a bunch of logical volumes. One logical volume called repo root, one called repo server, one called repo data, one called repo home, and another one called repo admin. And they have, you can swap out repo root with a new image, just DD a new image onto repo root, and that you've built with this. No, this is repo server. This is not repo root. Yeah, so you build a new image from this repo root.conf, and then just DD it onto the repo root volume, and start up the instance, the Zen guest. And that is independent of the repository data, mostly independent of the repo server chroot. I say mostly because there's some coupling between them to get the services running, but not that much. Yeah, so in some way it's like running a Docker container with volumes attached, if you're familiar with that. Nowhere near as polished, but it works.
Yeah, it's not quite the same as ZFS boot environments, is it?
No. But in principle, you could do something like that. I'm using Zen and LVM like this because it was where we had convenient servers already running with enough disk space to run these experiments. Could also run it with a QEMU VM or with some kind of ZFS images or something like zvols or something. Just didn't have that handy to run, and wanted to make it not make too many infrastructure changes all at once, so we can actually get this running and deployed. So this is a make image script. It just sets up the file system with a bunch of stuff. Here's some things configuring rc.conf. Plus, there's a bunch of static files that are just copied into the root, like the. We've got an rc.local script. This is just copied verbatim into the root, and this just sets up the package and runs the package and post-install scripts on the first boot, and then this whole tsort thing is because there's currently no way to ask package add to just please rerun the install script in the correct order. So I copied and pasted it right here. Should really teach package add to do this, or package in, or something like that. But for now, this is this computer dependency graph and top run the install scripts, and then set up any stuff that needs to be done on first boot, and then start running all the servers inside the chroot. And then similarly, there's a rc.local script inside the server chroot, starts up the mirroring processes for when you push to Mercurial, then it goes and mirrors that to anonymous Mercurial. And this is just a little daemon that listens on a socket and runs a script to do the pushes. There's a bunch of mechanism here, but it's not very interesting. And then start up the SSHD, and that's it. And this one runs in a read-write view of the repo server chroot, and then there's other things that run in the read-only view, where everything is null-mounted with read-only. There's a big FS tab of FS tab to set up the this is the main admin chroot, plus some persistent administrative state, so that we can swap out the NetBSD installation, but keep all the admin passwords edged, so we can just periodically do that. The only view of the server chroot software with a read-write view of the repository data, so that if someone finds a bug in Mercurial or SSHD or something, it can write to the repository data, but it can't write to the software installation, can't write to user package bin, whatever, can't write to user bin, and so on. And then there's another read-only view with a read-only view of the repo. So this is for internal infrastructure access. This is also similar to the anonymous anon-HG, anon-Git, anon-CVS server setup, where all the file systems except for /temp are read-only, /temp/var run, var shm. And everything is mounted with, like, no exec, no SUID, except for the couple of things that absolutely need it. We have a mechanism where the anonymous SSHD runs unprivileged, but it has access to the SSH host keys, uses an SUID executable to drop access to those host keys when you log in with a login shell that is SUID some other unprivileged user. So anyway, this is trying to make the components swappable for future updates to make future maintenance easier, and future replication. If we need to spin up a new repository server, we just need to copy over the repo data and then set up a new instance of this image, and we can make a test instance this way. And this is how I have the test instances running separately from the real instances, but it'll be easy to reproduce the real instance once it's ready. Any other questions? I feel like I've been blathering for quite a long time at this point. And all the developers have access to this, this configuration if you're interested in the TNF image repository. At some point, we'll probably make this public. I just didn't, figure the details of the internal infrastructure is not really that worthwhile to share as a public project, but yeah, we should do it at some point. Just erring on the side of caution, I suppose. All right. In that case, if there's no other questions, and I don't think, let me see if there's any questions on the stream audience. Yeah, okay. Then I think we're all set. We turn off the mass surveillance instrument here.
Hang on 1 second.
Big brother.
No. You're not finished feeding the AI?
Nom nom nom.
Someone says, say big thanks for all the work. All right. Ready to kill it?
Yep.